Hello and welcome to another episode of the Screen Chronicles. I'm Steve. With me, as always, is birthday Colbstone. How are you doing today?
Good. I am good. What an incredible birthday present to be able to watch the new season of The Last Kingdom and talk about it today. I couldn't really think of anything better.
Yes.
I don't know how they planned that for me. Like they got Carnival and Netflix all got together and like, what would be really nice?
It was probably Adre. Probably our boy Adre was just like, you know what? Colbstone, he needs something. He needs a little birthday present. We'll drop TLK the day before his birthday,
Yeah. Speaking of birthday presents, real quick, check out this awesome mug that my girlfriend got me. It says, "I am Utred, son of Utred, who has a son named Utred." Wait, let me read it.
Destiny is all. Destiny's all.
And his father was called Utred.
Yes.
And he had a brother named Utred as well. But anyway, we are so excited to
what are we talking about
again today? Talking about The Last Kingdom. We've been waiting for this season for so long.
So today we are talking about season 5, episode 1 of The Last Kingdom. We're going to jump right into spoilers here. We're going to start out with a rank, so you could potentially watch that, listen to that if you haven't seen the episode. But most of it here, just because we want to be free to just talk about everything, we're just going to get into complete spoiler talk, give you a little recap. It won't be exactly a play-by-play, but just a general stuff of what's going on. Maybe talk about some new characters and get into the show and tell you what we thought, our favorite bro moments, our favorite moment. You know what we talk about here when we're talking about The Last Kingdom. So.
And tell us what your favorite bro moments and favorite moments were in the comments. We love to read them. Love to hear different points of view. And we're just so excited to talk about The Last Kingdom again. This is great. This is great.
Absolutely. So Colby, since it's your birthday here, you're a ripe old age of 30, 37?
The big 1-8.
37?
Big 1-8 this year.
Yeah, big 1-8.
Big 1-8.
Finally legal.
Stop spreading lies about my age. You posted that I was in my 30s on a post. I think everybody believed you because I look old. But
everyone thinks
I'm actually way younger than Steve, believe it or not.
Way younger.
Yeah.
2 years.
Okay.
What do you think about the episode here? Just a general.
I really liked this as a first episode because. We had the nostalgia. I think the first episode always has to bring that nostalgia, characters reuniting. But it also introduced three new, probably more than 3, new characters that I thought were all really solid. And we'll get into that here in the spoiler talk. And then the end of the episode leaves you on a cliffhanger, which was good.
I would say generally I liked it. There was definitely a lot of setup in this episode, though.
Right. I think there kind of has to be almost for a first episode, though,
especially because they're bringing in, they're starting all these new plots with Breda coming in, with Ethelstan, and his succession potentially. I mean, I've only seen the first episode here, people, and we're going to keep it just the first episode.
Just the first episode.
So even though the whole show is out right now, we're only going to talk about that. But so I don't know what's going to happen. Colby has seen further, so he knows a little bit more. But yeah. So potentially Ethelstan's succession. We know that's going to be part of it. I'm willing to bet the second half of the season, because we know each season split up into 2 books. I'm willing to bet right now the second half is going to be the Bevenber stuff. The first half here is going to be the Breda stuff. There's still a lot of plot lines that they have to sew here in this first episode after season 4. So
absolutely,
there was a lot of setup for me, and there was some nostalgia, but I'd have to say the first episode of season 4, even though season 4 wasn't as a whole season, my favorite season Last Kingdom, I'd say the first half was excellent. It was perfect. Yes.
Yeah, the first 4 episodes were like perfection.
Yes,
I will say that.
And I would say the first episode of last season, just seeing the bros all together and Bevenber and the Ember hilt, like there was so many like things that just got me excited to see. And Elfric sitting on the gates of Bevenber looking out. There were so many things that just got me hyped. And I would say there wasn't anything in this episode that just got me hyped. Other than it's the Last Kingdom, and I love the Last Kingdom.
Well, there were some things that got me kind of excited in this episode.
There was a few things. Definitely. I'm just saying, in general, it was definitely more of a setup episode and I feel like not as much has happened as some other first episodes of the season. Like,
that might be true. Yeah.
First episode of season 1, we saw the Danes for the first time. There was a battle. First episode of season 2, I think that we even got to see Utred with the skull and the mask and that sort of thing. The first episode of season 3, there was a battle there too. There was a great shield wall. Season 4, like I said, had all the nostalgia stuff. There wasn't anything to me that was huge in this first one.
Right.
There was still some really cool moments, especially with the stuff at the beginning in Iceland, which was new and different.
Yeah, that was cool. Cool.
Blood Month. Festival.
Blood Month Festival. Yes.
Blood Month, baby.
Blood Month. Go. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of dramatic entrances to introduce the characters again. They just kind of, appeared and showed up. But I like to see, and we're getting into the spoiler talk here. I think we're going to kind of transition into some of the plot of the first episode here. I like to see them in Rumkuffa, and just living a good life. I mean, doesn't that just seem what Utred always does? Is he like has his trials and tribulation, and then he sets himself up real nice here. Trials and tribulation, sets himself up real nice here. Has these long-lasting periods of peace, and then when the season starts, just by coincidence, I think, when they start filming, everything starts to go to shit. And
Utred's just minding his own business, and then his film crew shows up and just messes up his day.
Before we get into more spoilers, real quick, Steve, what did you rate this episode?
I would give it right now a 7.5.
Okay.
For the first episode here. Again, maybe I'll change by the end of this talk. We might even change by the end of the season how I feel about this episode. But as of now, like I said, there was a lot of setup for me most of this episode, and it was great seeing a bunch of characters again. And I think the show is going to be good, and it looks great. But yeah, that's where it's coming from for me.
All right, I give it an 8. I give it an 8, which is unusual because I'm usually harsher than you.
I know. I'm usually like at least a 0.5 above you.
But I give it an 8. Just again, I thought it introduced some awesome characters. And so without any further ado, let's kind of dive into it, and let's talk about that intro scene with Breda. So we knew Breda went off at the end of season 4 with a belly full of hatred. And sorry. But we knew she had a child. And we knew she was going to raise that child in some way that was not going to be so good. And we were right about that.
Yes. I wanted to call child services, but they don't exist yet.
No, I know. So
she has this daughter like you said, her child is a daughter, and she's a seer, and they have
just like Breda. Breda's been like a seer, and she's used potions to have visions. I don't know if we technically call her a seer.
Yeah, but she learned a lot from Raven, who was, if you remember from season 1, that was Ragnar the Elder, who adopted Utred as a Dane. That was his father. Raven was a seer, the blind man. So she knows that's how she knows a lot of her magic sorcery stuff. And it seems like she just gave that all to her daughter, and she's leaning very heavy into Dane culture. It's something, and it's clear
she's the leader of this pack that she has in Iceland. We don't know how she got there, but we know that she is the leader. And I like how this sets the tone, by the way. And by the way, Eivor, who does the music for The Last Kingdom, was in this scene.
Oh yeah,
look for her, and they do like an awesome little song. It's not a long one. Like they're banging the drums,
and
they're doing this like Viking song, and it got me like it was awesome. Good. It was good.
That was great. That was,
and
great.
It wasn't too much. It wasn't like it was a musical number. It just was like a nice song.
Just a little taste.
A little taste, like a ceremony, because they're doing this ceremony. And let's talk about the ceremony a little bit. Because it is freaking creepy and just messed up. So Breda's like, the gods demand a sacrifice. We got to do sacrifice, of course, right?
Right. This reminds me of the show Vikings
as
a
it
lot
should be
too.
This is sort of a Vikings scene, maybe less dramatic though, a little less.
It was definitely less dramatic. It was definitely a little less over the top than Vikings, but especially in the later seasons tended to get.
Yeah. And what this girl does, they blindfold her, and she basically goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And
catch a sacrifice by his toe.
If he hollers, throw him down a hole.
Let the volcano explode.
The volcano explode. We all know the song. We've all sang that as a kid.
We all grew up with this classic song.
And so she goes, and it's just, she's a cute little girl, which makes it even creepier. And she just holds this guy's hand. And because they're so deep into their religion and their faith, the guy is like, okay, I guess I was chosen as a sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And I thought this was cool, though. As creepy and disturbing as it was with a little girl picking who's going to be sacrificed, I haven't seen this before. This was sort of a new Dane sort of ritual.
Yeah. We see later in the show, Rumvald, Citrigir's brother, he infiltrates in with Efferwitch and everything. And one thing he mentions when Breda comes in, he's like, all Danes, pure Danes. And that's something, Breda has always been pro Dane, and that's something that she was always frustrated with Utred for flipping sides from time to time. And so it's definitely when they say pure Dane, it's very different, because Danes, they didn't see themselves as, we have to be pure Danes. They would come in, they'd mix with the culture, they'd conquer that. And so it's definitely its own different thing. So it's more of like a cult feeling that we've got going on.
It does feel like a cult feeling. And
with this,
and when the girl
also too with the pure Dane thing, I was like, the woman sitting on the horse right there is not a pure Dane. That's a Saxon. She was adopted as the Dane. So
exactly.
There's so many levels of just irony, hypocrisy.
Listen. There's stories about Hitler.
Yes.
Not being the Aryan race that he claimed to be too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely wasn't blonde hair. So, I mean,
exactly. But there's even stories of him coming from a Jewish family. So it's interesting though. But she's lived through so many of the struggles of the Danes, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, the little girl finds someone to be sacrificed, and he willingly goes and jumps into this
bottomless hole. It just
it's basically where another escape for volcanic debris and
gas. You can say gas hole.
I can say gas hole. I wasn't sure if we
can say gas hole on here.
Okay. And he just willingly jumps in like, wee. But he goes in, pretty cool, I thought, because to them, this thing, who knows what they saw this hole in the ground as.
It's a gas hole.
To them, it was this was like a portal or something, or like
well, I didn't think about that.
You know what I mean? Like to to us, we see like something like that, and
they might have went straight to Valhalla in their mind.
Yeah, they're like,
bam,
yeah,
feasting in the halls.
Right. And it just so happens that the volcano erupts about 10 seconds after he jumps in.
She had to be thinking right there. She was like, this could not have been fucking better.
I know. She's just like, okay.
Let's just say too, like, this looks really good too. Like, this is,
oh my God.
I don't know where location they filmed this, but I'm definitely noticing.
Fantastic.
I can notice some moments this episode where there is some CGI, but it looks really good. Like that volcano, it looked as real to me as any other show like Mandalorian or Witcher or anything like that. And There was definitely when they were
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth, man.
The CGI they use in Planet. No.
Remember when they were sweeping and they did like the shot up the Stiora? There was like definitely a time where I was like, the outside of that CGI, definitely when they came in, I think was on set. But I mean, it looked really good. Like it looked really good.
Yeah, that's what I have to say too. Is it seems like everything looks, every season it seems to get better and better and better. Now,
I would say the budget. I can tell they've got a budget. This episode, anyway. Absolutely.
Now, when we think of Breda's point of view, though, like what, like this is the gods just saying, "Do it." Like that's the God's way of saying.
If I was there, that's what I would have thought. If one of the people in our class jumped in a hole and a volcano went off, I'd be like, I'm doing whatever Chris tells me to do right now.
Yes.
whatever she says.
Anyway, so she says, let's go save our people. It's time to save our people. Just going back to that pure Dane theme. And then, we get our intro video, and lovely to hear Eivor again.
John Loon.
One of the best and John Loon, one of the best intro songs ever.
Hey.
Yeah. And
I just noticed your shirt, by the way, a little bit ago.
Yes, it says, I'd rather be in Bebbanburg drinking with Utred.
Oh, that's an awesome shirt. I need to get some new shirts. But then they sail off, and they're obviously going to go do some evil deeds.
Yeah.
We go to, was it Rumvad?
Rumkuffa.
When we were coming, I thought we were going to be back in Cookham, because the show has kept Utred in Cookham. I think just because they built that set in season 2 for him, and that's where they've just kept him. I thought we would stay there because like in the books, he has lived in a bunch of different places when the show's kept him in Cookham. Like he was living in London for a while. He was in the city. He was a city boy for a while, and they were just like, nope, still Cookham. It is cool that they're somewhere different,
Yeah, and he has like a purpose there. He's like watching the border of Mercia,
which is pretty sweet.
Which is cool. So like there is a reason he's there as well. And look, the whole gang's with him, Finnen and Citric and Osferth. And we get to see, I think, one of the roles that we were most anticipating as Ethelstan, because the kid who played Ethelstan in season 4 was so good. And
just the way they set up his character too.
Yes. And we knew he was going to be getting mentorship from Utred, and they told us he's going to be the first king of all of England. So
they
were so excited. It was a huge spoiler.
They're just like, bam, first king of all England. All right, okay.
Yeah, I gotta say,
festival's going on.
Yeah, Blood Month festival's going on, and they're just having a good time. So I like to see that, like, they're happy because they've gone through so much, and they're happy. They're having a good time, and I think this is Ethelstan's first hunt. I think they're saying.
Yeah, this is his first time going after, I think, a boar is what they're shooting for.
He's got an awesome hat on.
Yeah, it's like a boar hat, but it's got antlers into it. So I don't know what animal they killed, but I have to say I love this. I loved seeing Citric, Arnis, Fedorovicius. I thought he was hilarious in this whole scene too. I mean, with he was doing like the pig squeal. Like and just being just a complete Dane. I thought he did really. I love seeing Citric in this episode too. He definitely, for me, I was like, he's still like some bro spotlight here from Finnen in a couple of these scenes. You know what I mean?
Love it. So they go out into the hunt, and they're kind of razzing Ethelstan a little bit, and they're all going out. They're like, here, piggy, piggy, piggy.
Yep.
Kind of
here,
stuff.
piggy, piggy.
Here, piggy. It was awesome. It was just cracking me up.
It was great.
Now, the whole time this is going on, by the way, Utred's just got a weird gut feeling, right?
Because he saw the film crew, and he's like, every time this film crew shows up, something bad happens. But no, like, I think we've all like had a gut feeling when it doesn't seem like anything's wrong. We've had a gut feeling, and it ends up being that there is something off. It's a weird energy, I feel like, in life that changes. Have you felt that before, Steve? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like you've had a day, it's like, why am I feeling this in my stomach? And then you find something out later. It's like, wow, this is. And in Utred's case, there's Breda is that feeling in his stomach. I mean, he doesn't. necessarily know it's her 100% yet, but he's just got a gut feeling that something's
and they're
off.
hearing things about raiders and Danes and stuff like that. Then getting news about people.
They mentioned this Rungvald. They're saying, "Oh, it's probably Rungvald again."
And I think in his head, he was just like, because he knows again the Danes. He knows warriors. He has reputation. So I think in his head, he was also just like it's not him. You know what I mean? And he's just like, Breda's been away too long too. Right. Haven't heard from her. So I'm willing to bet that's where that vibe.
He's like, things have been too quiet.
Yes.
It's too quiet for too long.
Too nice.
This is not how my life works.
No.
So anyway, back to the hunt.
Some guys end up jumping Ethelstan when he's off on his own, and this was a pretty sweet scene. I have to say, like,
awesome.
When I was the show up to like this point, I was like, this is gonna be like a killer episode. And I still want to point out, I still loved it. I still loved the episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, he just like gets jumped by 3 guys.
It's Brezel, who we find out later works for Ethelhelm.
Yes.
But at this point,
he looks like a Dane, though. He's like,
he does kind of look like a Dane.
He looks like a Dane to me. He's not. He's Saxon. But he fights off these dudes. I mean, I think he kills all of them except Brezel.
Except Brezel. He runs away, especially when Finnen and the guys start coming up to save
for Utred. I would run if like I was jumping someone and they started yelling for Utred, like in modern day, you know, like Utred. I'd be like, no.
No. He runs away, and so nobody sees Brezel's face. Only Ethelstan saw it. Let's talk about Harry Gilby, by the way, who plays Ethelstan.
He killed a guy
first episode
with an
phenomenal. He killed a dude with an antler. He had this amazing move where the guy tried to throw a haymaker and he like dodged it and like simultaneously like took the guy's knife, I think, and like
yes.
I tried to slow that down a little bit, but I need to get that in the editor and put it in super slow motion because it was like, it looked so cool, but it was like too much for my brain to understand like exactly what happened.
It was quick. I was excited. It was also dark, but the fight choreography for me, what I saw in the first view, it looked pretty sweet.
It was good. And it was pretty like I could believe that's a brawl, and, like, you know, it's like brawling, and
they were like in this dip, you know, in the land too. It was like a little hole in the ground. It wasn't a gas hole. It wasn't a gas hole. Just a ditch.
Yeah.
A Dane ditch, maybe?
Yeah, but you're right. He takes the antler, being resourceful, and kills him. So it's obvious he's been trained well by Utred. You know?
Yeah. There's a line like in a different part of the episode when he meets up with, I think like when it's Ethelfled's crew shows up and they're just like, or maybe it was Edith.
Edith shows up. Yeah, one of the next things that happens here is Edith comes to visit, and
they say like, "Oh, you're pretty, different now. You used to be."
Well, she's like, "You were such a solemn young boy. You were so solemn."
And he's like, "I had it beaten out of me."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, Nutra beat it out of me," which was and it was like a perfectly delivered line too.
Yeah,
like it fit right into like the bro group comedy.
Yes. He's one of the boys, man.
He's one of the boys now. And it's just clear that they've accepted him. They still sort of razz him a little bit.
They rescue him. They make sure he's fine. And they're all pretty stoked. They're like, you're like, you fought off 3 guys? And this was about him proving himself to Utred. And Utred is, obviously still very protective of him. 1, because he swore the oath to Edward at the end of season 4. And 2, it's obvious he sees him as his son now, in some ways, and he's protective of him. And so this was like a way for him to prove himself by just killing an animal. The dude fought off 3 dudes in a ditch, and so I mean, everyone's like, "That is, you're pretty legit now."
The Blood Moon Festival, baby.
Blood Festival.
Crazy, now, Blood Moon Festival. Yeah, so I also allude to him later on, like he likes to get in bar fights too.
Yes,
at the ale house. Yes. I guess in brawls at the ale house. So yeah, he is like feisty to prove himself, I think, as a warrior. I
think to Utred too,
and to Utred, yeah. We also get to go back to Ephowich, which we know in the deal that Sigtrygr made with Edward last season, Sigtrygr got Effowich.
Yes.
And we get to see Steora and Sigtrygr, and they are also stable and happy. There's these like Christian missionaries that are coming into the town, and they're debating like, I don't think Steora is super happy about that.
No,
and
she makes a line like, she's like, because Sigtrygr is a very progressive Dane, right? He's very progressive.
And
that's what we saw.
Very smart.
He's very smart.
Very
guy.
smart.
Not so smart this episode.
Not so smart this episode. Well, look, I mean, he had made a deal this episode and he got betrayed.
Yeah.
So with his family. So
yeah.
But he's progressive and he's like, he is wise. He is wise.
He's a good guy we saw in the first season. That was one thing. That when Steora was like talking to him, she's like, we should have them. Should we just beat them a little? And he was like, no. He's like, no, let's not beat them. Come on, just a little beat. Just a little beaten.
Yeah. But yeah, he's progressive. He's letting this happen. And I think he's trying to keep the peace as well.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of wants his people to prosper in this area. And all of a sudden you hear this Dane shouting from the courtyard, and they look out their window. And here's this new character, Rongvald, coming in, drunk, inebriated. And he's like, fight me to, I think, the missionaries. And they're just like, what? The priest, yeah,
whatever they are.
But they're there. They're trying to convert people there.
Yeah, that's what their purpose is, and it's apparently from Edward, is what she says, and that's what they're trying to win back Effowich. If you remember, slowly. Effowich is the last kingdom. That's the line they delivered, because it's the last kingdom that's not under Edward's pretty much control, either through alliance or directly.
Edward's strategy is like, instead of going and just taking it, he's trying to like infiltrate it and make it Christian.
Yeah, and then they'll just want to be part of the rest of everyone else. So
yeah, so it's an interesting strategy. But anyway, Rongvald coming in, and we find out this is Sigtrygg's brother.
Yes.
And they look alike. I mean, they did a great job casting, by the way. Ethelstan looks like he could be an older version of Casper Griffiths from season 4.
Yeah, I thought it honestly, just in the face, looked kind of like him.
We meet Ethelfled's daughter. Looks like it could easily be her daughter.
Yeah.
There's more, I think, but they did a fantastic job casting. And this guy really looks like it could be Sigtrygg's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Steora's complaining about him coming in, so it's obvious he's been trouble in the past.
He's been a drunk.
She's like, why do we have to accept him? Like, I thought he was pretty funny at first. I was intrigued by him.
He was funny drunk. He was interesting.
I thought he was interesting, especially because to this point we've heard rumbles of him being this great warrior Dane who's been tormenting towns, and we hear, I think, Steora or somebody say, maybe it's Sigtrygr, like, oh, he's been paying the tradesmen to spread rumors about him. So it's like, oh, maybe he's not actually this, maybe he's a screw up, Yeah.
And we see later then when they are having just dinner, catching up, he ends up passing out in the food, and this is where I notice, like, all right, well, this guy is definitely a bad guy, because Steora starts talking about, let's just kick him out of here, and Sigtrygr is saying, like, he wants to, this is his family, he's got to be loyal to him. And you see, like, he's now fake sleeping. Like, he opens his eyes, he's like, I'm listening in.
It's like, ooh.
And he closes them. And like she even lifts up his head and like slams it back down. Saying,
she's like, bam.
Yeah, that was hard. That was hard. She's like, you're in Valhalla. Wham.
Not only is the actor who plays Rongvald great, but also Rongvald's a great actor. And
yes.
Like, I would, if I was faking being drunk to an extent, and somebody picked my head up, and I'd be like, wait.
And especially after you slam me down, I'd at least like be like, all right, I'm awake, like to make sure it doesn't happen again. But and then they send him off to bed, and he's like creeping. He's like creeping behind the lattice work, like listening to them again. And I was like, this guy's like creeping all the time, and he washes off his face, and he puts the white paint on his face. And like,
it's really good for the pores. It cleans it right out. And by the way, we didn't mention this, but all of Breda's people have like different variations of that white paint.
If you remember our trailer reaction talk, that's where we mentioned that too.
I thought he was
clearly a
going
Breda
to like
cultist.
attack then because he was doing all that, but he was just doing some kind of ritual for himself, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to know my skincare routine?
yeah, and his skincare routine before bed, of course. But I was intrigued by this character. I was like, "Ooh, I'm excited to see what happens with him," because he's obviously been deceitful so far.
Yes. Later on, that after they cut around to different scenes, we show they come back and they've made a deal to let his people in. Then Sitchiger has agreed to this,
right?
And it makes it sound like it's just going to be some Danes and some regular people who aren't going to be trying to take the place.
And Steora is like, maybe we shouldn't do it.
Yes.
Like, let's just kick him out. And he's like, he's my brother. And he's like, plus, I'm going to send our guard to bring his people in so nothing bad happens.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they'll make sure nothing bad happens.
A few days later, whatever, that night, the Christians are starting to sing a song about Jesus and the Danes and Odin and stuff. It's a very cool scene here at the end of the episode. Rumvald's people are starting to show up and they're getting ready. But Sitchiger doesn't know that they're what they look like or anything. And because this singing is going on, you can't hear. And the guy on the gates is yelling, "They look pretty badass. Like, they look pretty bad."
Yeah, they look angry.
They're angry.
And,
real Danes.
Real Danes.
Real Danes.
By the way, Rungvald is also like arguing with Sigtrigger about like, how are you allowing these people in here? Like, why this should be pure Dane? Just going with that ideology again. He even has a line like, you like let your enemies get too close or something like that, which is like, well, that's when I was like, yep, here we go. He's about to betray him right here.
Yeah.
And Steora sees that this is like an attack. But Sigtrigger, where he's located, all he thinks in his head is like, okay, the party's coming.
He even says, "Open the gates."
Yeah, he's like, "Open the gates." Like, this was the plan. My brother told me that the people were coming, but then who shows up? Freaking Breda with his daughter on the horse. Sigtrigger is like realizing now, oh crap.
Yeah, and he's like, "Where's my men?" Ready.
And Breda's line here is awesome. "Where's my men?" She goes, "Valhalla."
Oh, this was sweet.
That was sick. That was sick. And they attack. They start attacking everyone. And we should also talk a little bit about why Breda went there. Because Breda, if you remember, wants revenge on Utred.
Mm-hmm.
So she is actually there, not only to take Effowich, but to get Steora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uhtred's daughter.
So Steora, she has her helper who is, she's deaf. So Steora is actually using a lot of sign language, which was kind of cool. She helps her, she's like, we need to hide. The episode ends pretty soon here. Sigtrigger is just trying to fight best he can, but he's so outnumbered. And I like how Breda's people are just climbing over the wall too.
I know, like they're
just like
it's within height.
It's like an ant infestation or something almost.
Yes.
Going over the wall. That was cool. I liked that.
I would say this was an awesome scene. This was an awesome scene. And then like you said, Emily Cox, Breda, delivering the line when he's like, "Where are my men?" She's just like, "Valhalla," like the way she said it. Like it was like,
I can't do it, but she's Emily Cox is always doing an awesome job.
It was like funny but menacing at the same time. It was just like right on it, like that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then they're going, while they're doing that, the little girl gets off the horse and she's like, I think she's got these marbles or something. This is Breda's daughter, Vibica is her name. And I think she's got these marbles and it's almost like she's playing with the fate while she's playing with like these, I think they're marbles or some pieces,
runes, maybe even
casting runes or like just, it's cool. Or maybe she's just freaking playing because she's a little girl.
She's like, "I don't like raids. I want to play, mommy."
Mom, I don't want to do this right now. I want to play the game.
I want to play redstones. All right, fine.
I want to play stones. Yeah. Is there anything else from that little chunk? I mean, Sigtrigger, I think he has some cool beats here.
That's pretty much that's where the episode ends, and that's the end of the Efferwit plot line for this episode.
Right.
Before this, back in Rumkava, after Blood Month Hunt, and festival,
and the festival's still happening. Yeah,
the festival's still going on. It's not just a one night thing. This is
the Blood Moon, people.
Blood Moon, baby.
Let's go, Blood Moon, baby. Woo! We're going to Rumkava, baby. And that's what Ethelfled is saying, because she's going around. So there's a scene that they cut out where Ethelfled is trying to inspire her people, and she's like, "We're going to Rumkava, baby!
Rumkava, baby!" But she does. She shows up at Rumkava, and we see that she's now with Elswith. Is just back. She's just like, hey, she's like, is my tongue white? Is my tongue white? Like, because if you remember, she got poisoned by Ethelhelm at the end of season 4, and we were thinking maybe she's gonna die, and we saw that she was actually filming. I'm blanking on her name right now. We did see Eliza Butterworth was filming, for the new season here, and
which is awesome.
Which of course, I didn't really want her gone. And she had a great arc in season 4. It's interesting because in the books, little book spoiler, after Alfred dies, Utred in the books mentions, and that was the last time I ever saw Lady Elswith. She just gone now. So this is all different.
Just a testament to how good Eliza Butterworth is, that they got to keep writing her into this show.
Right? Just like, let's keep her. And
she's great. Aldhelm's there.
You can tell she's definitely a little affected by the poisoning, though. She's definitely a little weak.
Oh yeah.
Seems like Ethelfled too has something going. She's a little stiff getting up after praying one time, and then she just looks kind of weathered down when she's talking with Utred at Rumkava. And she's like,
it was weird to see.
Yeah,
it was weird to see.
I mean, everyone at this point should be fairly old.
There's a line too where they say, when Edith comes and they kind of have a circle get together and they meet. Oh, Ingrid, by the way, who's Finnen's new wife. Yes. But I think Citric says, "Oh, Utred hasn't changed at all." It's like, no, he literally hasn't.
no, he hasn't.
Citric's got some freaking guns now, though.
Who does?
Arnis, Citric.
Oh, Arnis has always been pretty ripped. Yeah, but he's been pretty lean.
He's been ripped, but he kind of got bulked this season.
Yeah, I think he's a little bulkier.
Yeah. Look at some side shots.
All right.
But
all right. Okay.
By the way, we got to meet Ingrid. There was still a little something like you could tell between Finnen and Edith, because I think there was a lot of speculation with the way season 4 ended. Were they going to be together?
It looked
even
like
though they're not in the books. It looked like that's the way they were going.
If you remember when they did the shield wall at the end of season 4, he crossed the field to get to her. They had some chemistry during their Lord of the Rings sort of field adventure.
He was patching her up at the end, and it was kind of an awkward hug moment.
Yeah,
but it's clear that Edith has gone off on her own, and she's actually been very successful. And she hasn't seen them for a long time. And
she looks a little rougher
like there was
than she did in season 4.
Looks a little rougher.
Like in season 4, she was pristine all the time. She was the only pretty person, and now she blends in.
Yeah, but the thing is with Edith and is there is they acknowledge that there was a little spark between them. I think because Finnen at one point says she is a friend. There's a little awkward moment when she meets Ingrid.
Who is your wife? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's your wife. And she's like, "Oh, I've heard so much about you," Ingrid says to her. And also, by the way, they give Citric's wife a line here. I was happy to see Citric had his whole family. That was cool.
Yeah, just the kids running around. That's how if you remember the beginning of season 3 started out too. It seemed happy, he had his kids, and he's like, gotta go to war. And that was the last time we saw them.
He's like, "I'm a warrior."
Warrior. Bam. Done.
Yeah. So it was cool to again, they're all happy. Now, where were we though? We were back to people from Mercia are coming in to celebrate the Blood Moon Festival. But also, they need to talk to Utred. Mm-hmm. And we also meet Bishop Benedict. So she wanted to bring him a priest.
Again, she's still very pious. And I was kind of they're having this festival for Blood Month here. And just Benedict just starts setting up a cross and just starts priesting in the middle of this pagan ceremony. And Ethelflaed's I just want a few words, just a few Christian words. It's you came for Blood Month. You got to let Blood Month go.
But his speech was awesome though.
Yeah,
he was kind of gritty and
whatever sermon he starts giving, he starts like going like he's like the bowels, and he's like
the
clearly
breast,
drunk. Turns out he's a gambler. Like he used to be in Rome.
Yeah, I think Aldhelm says that like he's lost all his money gambling, so he's not this perfect priest,
Mm-hmm.
And he gives that sermon, and actually the crowd likes it. I think.
Yeah, they're like ooh, dirty priesty stuff.
Yeah, we like that.
We like
Give the
dirty
people
stuff.
what they want. Give the people what they want. Yeah, so we meet him. I don't think he has too much else in this episode, but
no. During this, we get to see the part where in the trailer, Utred's son, Utred, who is a son of Utred, who had a son named Utred. This is that Utred. And he starts walking up, and I thought in the trailer, I remember seeing blood on the gown, and I thought he might have just been like stabbed in the gut, and he was dying, bleeding out. Yeah. And we haven't seen Utred all this episode either, too. So I was like, where did he come from?
Yeah.
Was he in the town?
I don't know. I didn't say.
We didn't see him at all up until this point. So
he must have been. No, he must have been on the outskirts. I mean, because Breda found him. Maybe he was at some kind of monastery somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, because they even say like they don't have a church nearby. When they show Benedict the chapel, it's got goats in it.
That was hilarious. These goats come out.
Cedric's like, "Here's our chapel."
That was awesome.
Pretty big goats too. Pretty big. I mean, so I was like, maybe they're the ones running the chapel. But
this I almost wish wasn't in the trailer too, because it would have been more shock value.
I know this would have been more shock. And if you remember, if you have listened to if you watched our trailer reaction for season 5, which you should, I thought maybe he was dead or he was been stabbed. Maybe he was going to die because Utred said she's after my bloodline in the trailer. And we have not read the 2 books that this season is based off of. We have not read the 2 books. I've read the books after this season, and we have read up to season 4 with the books that would be.
I'm going to read it now, though.
And everyone spoiled it, saying that he was castrated in the comments.
In our video, we said, please, no spoilers.
No spoilers. Please. And everyone's like, we think you missed the mark, guys. He's clearly castrated.
Yeah, someone's
in the books,
like,
Breda castrates Utred. Like, everyone was saying that to us. We didn't miss the mark because we didn't know.
Yeah, but please don't spoil it, and please don't. If you're listening to this video, please don't spoil the next episode.
Don't do it. So Utred comes up, and it's like you all spoiled for us. He is castrated. The blood is coming from the penis.
The
penis area.
Area.
I'm sorry. It's not the. Hopefully, it's not the penis. Hopefully, he still has at least the twig. But
the twig
castration implies he lost the berries.
He lost the berries, but he still has the twig. So
that's mean. That's mean.
That's mean.
I'm glad we didn't see it or anything though.
Yeah,
that was the first. That's the first like genital violence they've had in the Last Kingdom. So, ouch. I'm sorry, Utred, that you had to be the first one to get that.
Dang.
And just a quick family sort of catch up too for people. A lot of people ask about Utred had another in the books. They do the same thing. He has a son with Gisela. He has his 3 kids that he has, who is now Utred, Stiora, and at the time that the youngest son was Osbert. When in the books, Utred, who is Utred now in the show, I think he's been pretty much filling out the role in season 4. He's pretty much filling the role of the 2 sons, Utred and Osbert. In the books, though, Utred, when he becomes a priest, his father, Utred, Alexander Draymond Utred, disowns him, and he gives the name to the youngest son, Osbert, just like happened to him when his older brother, Utred, died.
Right.
And his father, Utred, gave him the name Utred.
Yeah. And in the books, the youngest Utred, the youngest son, is awesome in the books.
Yes, he's awesome. And he is sort of like the buddy with Ethelstan in the books, who they do cool shit with. So Utred to this point has been fulfilling sort of both of those roles. Like that's why I think he had some warrior beats in season 4. He had the Utred Bember line. If you're like wondering where's the other son at, I don't know if he's in this season or not. But this Utred here is the one who's the oldest one, who's the priest. He's the one who's been castrated. So that's my long spiel for that, because a lot of people ask about that. Where's the other kid? And they just haven't shown him in the show yet at all, other than when he was born and killed Gisela in season 3.
Yeah, it confused a lot of people in season 4. So anyway,
he says Breda, and they go around the town trying to find Breda.
Yeah, they're like, go find her. And I think, and does it in this episode, Uhtred starts planning to go to Stiora?
No. So so they say go find Breda at this festival, and then they cut to, like we said, the rest of the Efferwitch plot line, and then they just show Uhtred and the boys rolling up, looking pretty badass. But they just like go to the docks yelling for Breda, and it's like she's not there. She's not there anymore.
She's not. Yeah. So
and that's how the episode ends.
Yeah,
is clearly Breda's going to be the antagonist here for at least the first half of the season. I haven't seen anything past episode 1, but my prediction is she's going to be canuted halfway through this season, so the Bember plotline can happen. I don't know if that's right or not. That's my prediction right now, though. Don't confirm or deny that, Cold Stone. Don't confirm or deny that. But otherwise, I mean, I enjoyed the episode. Like I said, there was a lot of setup with new characters. We did see briefly to Edward, still with his family. We see that Ethelhelm, he was the one who hired Brezel, because he's still concerned about Elfweird, who is Edward's second son, and who's supposed to be set up for the throne.
Yeah,
but if you remember, Ethelstan was born in wedlock, so he is technically the eldest son.
He should,
and he should be the Etheling. So there's claim, and a lot of people want him because he's getting reputation with Utred. He's with Utred. He's with the king of the warriors here, man. So
hence why Ethelhelm is sending this mercenary to have him killed.
Yes,
this guy, and he's paying him in silver, by the way.
Silver. We love land and silver. Land and silver, Colby.
Land and silver. I love that stayed true this whole time. Oh, another thing that happens in this episode is we get, along that line, we see Edward, who's now got this beard, making him more kingly, and Timothy Innes, great as always. And Purelig has kind of become his new right-hand man, and I think he's the one who has his ear a little bit. Now, last season, Edward and Ethelhelm kind of fell out because Ethelhelm screwed up a little bit.
Yeah. Kept disobeying him. So Ethelhelm is still there because he's his father-in-law, and he's still powerful. He's still got a lot of an army, and he's rich, and he keeps trying to give Edward advice and stuff. But Edward's definitely matured and is thinking more for himself now. Yeah.
But the other thing is things between Edward and Aelfled are not too good. Edward is seen at this little gathering flirting with other women. Aelfled asks Ethelhelm is his other son dead? Because she's in on the plan to kill.
Yeah, she's so evil. She's a
little evil too.
She's like, of course she killed the guys we said. He's being raised by the warrior. Uhtred, they're gonna come and kill us.
He's gonna kill us. Edward doesn't really care for her anymore. He's looking elsewhere at women, and it's not that he ever wanted that marriage anyway, but
I mean, when they first met in season 3, they seemed cute together.
They were cute, they were cute.
They're can we walk together and stuff
very
like that?
Polite.
Shit happens, man. Relationships,
and it seems like, totally. So anyway, I think we've covered everything from this episode.
We've covered everything.
So let's talk real quick about
what are your favorite
bro moments. What is your favorite bro moment from this episode, bro?
Favorite bro moment? I don't know if there was one moment that stood out to me. There was I love just all the bros together. All the little scenes we had. There was like we said, when you first see them all together, Finnen makes a fart joke. He's like, I've been having too much cabbage.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're feeling it in the air. Osferth has been apparently getting the ladies all riled up in town.
Yes,
he's got women fighting over him in the street.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
They
broke Osferth, what are you doing to these women?
He ran away too.
He's like, nothing. And like later on too, when Edith is like, I'm a good healer, like I've heard there's a lot of disease around here, and they're like, yeah, that's Osworth.
That's Osworth. Yeah, awesome.
Spreading syphilis.
That me too. I think that and
I thought you were saying you had diseases. I was like,
no. I think all those like combined like comments just made up a lot of good small bro moments.
Yeah. I remember like what they show, I think it might have been Glima. They show this guy wrestling up on this platform during the festival, and he's a big dude, and he just beat the guy, and then like Finnen quickly steps up to be like, I'll challenge you next, and the guy comes towards him like, nope. He just gets
yeah.
That was hilarious.
By the way, Sigtrigger's big right hand man looks tough. Walland,
yes,
he got captured by Breda when he went out to bring them in, but he looks tough.
Looks like tough too.
So we'll see what happens with him.
Yes.
But anyway,
I'd say just all those together, those were my favorite bro moments.
Yeah, me too. I think just
Osworth,
seeing them all together.
Citric, that when they were going on the hunt, rallying up.
I was happy to see that Ethelstan has been like welcomed into this group.
Yes.
And he's not only welcome, but he fits in. He really fits in well.
He's got the jibes too, like the other ones do, and
yeah. And is it this episode that Ethelflaed's daughter kind of flirts with and we also see
Ethelflaed is like, her daughter is like, she's like some Mercian guards looking at her like they were hitting it off, and then she starts flirting
she's like a teenage girl, like
flirting with
everybody, and she's definitely not mature.
No,
but we'll see more from her, I'm sure. But again, a great acting cast.
Another
a lot like her.
Another funny moments was like the whole tall girl like thread that
why don't you go with the Frisian girl? And by the way,
tall Frisian girl, she's too tall, and then like Edith finds him later in bed just naked, ready for, and she's like, I was supposed to swap beds with you because this isn't big enough. And she's
I swap beds with the Frisian girl.
And let's talk about this too. She was checking him out. She was checking out that Utred ass. She was talking about that old Adre ass. That we've seen a few times here.
Which I guess is more consistent with the books.
That this potentially might be spoilery-ish. I don't know if they end up together because there's some still chemistry between him and Ethelflaed, but definitely Edith.
Yeah, and they highlight that
Utred
too.
Had a little chemistry, touching hands. She was checking out his ass, and
they highlight the Ethelflaed Utred stuff too.
Yes,
but I like how Utred's respectful. There's like a moment where like they go and they're going to pick up the same thing, and it's like, oh. And then they kind of laugh about it, and
they just laugh it off.
Yeah.
So that's just generally those are my favorite bro moments. Favorite moment from the episode was definitely the hunt that turned it into a fight.
Harry, Ethelstan's brawl there was amazing.
And I just love too just how they filmed it, them going out into the woods and like the going hunting by firelights, and just that it started out with them joking, and then he kicks some ass, and like he's just like yelling for Utred. It felt so raw and cool, and he just kills a guy with an antler. That was pretty sweet. So that was my favorite. But if I had to pick a different one, because you picked that one, I'm picking the moment when Sigtrigger lets the people in, and that would be my second,
because just the way that whole scene built with the people singing, and it slowly became more chaotic.
Yes.
Without Sigtrigger even realizing, like you see Steora realize it from the window. She's like, whoa, this is not what we expected. But the way they filmed it with this, the singing gets louder and louder, and it makes you feel tense. That was well done.
And then Breda's line too was pretty sweet.
And Breda's line and
that whole that would be my second. But I'd have to say when I got hyped for the show, for the episode, it was definitely the hunt.
The hunt,
how it went wrong, and just seeing like we said, we have a lot of expectations around Ethelstan here, so that was pretty sweet. That's it.
Yeah, so there is our episode 1 recap discussion. Let us know what your favorite moments, what your favorite bro moments were. Please follow, like, subscribe. We appreciate it. Want to hear what you guys think as well. We got some fun things coming up, so we hope you stay tuned with us.
Yes, make sure you are subscribed. We're gonna have maybe some Last King people we're talking to. Maybe. I mean, if you
I don't know
the channel, maybe that's what we do every now and then. So
maybe.
maybe if you behave.
Maybe not. Thanks for listening, everybody. As we always say,
Goodbye.
goodbye.
Destiny's all.
Destiny's all.